Hi, I'm Ryan with the R&R Law Group. Today we're talking about the third way that you can get an aggravated DUI. So that's under 28-1383A3. And this is if you are arrested for a DUI and you have a passenger that is under the age of 15. So it's not 15 and younger, it is under the age of 15. So if they're 15, that's not going to be classified under this aggravated DUI. But if they are 14 years old or younger, then that's what's going to get you into this range. So that also includes for each passenger that is under the age of 15. So sometimes we'll get clients that will ask the question, why am I charged with 4 counts of aggravated DUI? And that's because there were 4 passengers under the age of 15 in the vehicle. So that's what gets you into this range. Now, interestingly enough, this is a Class 6 felony. So out of the 5 different ways that you can get a DUI, 4 of them are Class 4 felonies. So driving on a suspended license, if it's your third or more subsequent DUI, if you're driving the wrong way on the highway, or you're supposed to be equipped with the ignition interlock device, all 4 of those are Class 4 felonies. But this aggravated DUI is a Class 6 felony, so that's the lowest level felony that Arizona has. Interestingly enough, it also falls under the category in which a judge can make this into a misdemeanor. Now, why is that important? Because depending upon the factors, that can really help your negotiations in trying to get either a better plea deal or looking at what your trial strategy might be. Because if you look at this and say, well, if I go to trial and lose, what's my worst possible outcome, and what's my best possible outcome if I lose? Well, your best possible outcome if you go to trial and are unsuccessful is still that a judge would look at this and say that the facts or circumstances in making this a felony would be considered unduly harsh. The judge can still make it a misdemeanor at the end of a trial. So you have some leverage here in your ability to fight your DUI. So it's almost as though this is just a regular DUI and something that you would want to go to trial on, but maybe you wouldn't want to risk the felony. Well, that's a lot different with this type of statute. What's the penalties for this? Aside from some of the other penalties that we talked about, meaning the fines, the fees, the ignition interlock. On this one, if you're charged with the 1381, that means that it is a regular DUI, so it is a DUI under a .150 BAC, or it was a drug or metabolite DUI, then you're going to be looking at a 1-day minimum jail sentence. If it was the extreme or super extreme DUI, then you're going to be looking at somewhere between a 20 to 45-day minimum sentence. And again, this is in jail, so this is not prison, this is jail, this is work furlough eligible. You can go work, come back, you spend your night in jail, some things like that. But those are some interesting things to point out in these types of cases, is that it is a low-level felony, so depending upon the facts of your case and each one of your individual backgrounds, that ability to make this into a misdemeanor or get this resolved without a felony conviction is much higher in this case than it may be in other ones. And again, when you're weighing that risk versus reward and whether you decide to go to trial or not, that's something that has to be played into and taken into account when you're debating all of this. So if you've been arrested for a DUI or suspicion of a DUI, and you had a passenger who was under the age of 15, call our office so we can sit down and go over a great strategy to put you in a position to where you don't end up having a felony on your record.